14-inch gaming laptops have just exploded in popularity, but even though they're so small, they are a big impact on your wallet, except for this one right here. It's a medium big impact on your wallet. Here we have the Predator Helios Neo 14. It's like the Helios 14, but the Neo means it's a little bit cheaper, which honestly matters quite a bit in this segment right now. First thing that I'm noticing, fingerprints. They really show up. For power, we have a 230 watt brick, which is delivered over a real old school looking barrel jack. Now I do wish that they had something that's a little bit more modern, but at the same time, for that kind of power, you aren't going to be able to deliver it efficiently over USB Type-C, so they can't just be using that, so I guess barrel jack's fine. Do we have stickers? Here we go. We've got to do it. It's the rules. The laptop comes with stickers. They go on the laptop. Do you like that rule, Bo? Training, no enter. Heck yeah. There we go. That's 5 FPS right there for sure. This laptop's clearly been through the review cycle a bit. We are not the first ones with it. And you can tell because it's kind of mangled back here. Look at how wavy that is. For a 14-inch gaming laptop, we do have quite a solid assortment of I/O. So on the right-hand side, we have a micro SD card slot, USB Type-C with display out and charging, USB-A, and a full-size HDMI port 2.1. And around on the left, we have the input for our barrel jack, another USB Type-A, Thunderbolt 4, and a headphone microphone combo jack. Now around the back and most of the sides, we have a whole lot of heatsink. We can see there, all the way to there on the side. That's all heatsink. That's all heatsink. This thing better perform really freaking good because that's a lot of heatsink and I'd be pretty embarrassed if it doesn't. It's not light. It's not super heavy. It is 4.29 pounds, which is pretty good for something of this power. It does have a 4070 in it. And for the rest of the world, that is 1.95 kilograms. How heavy is this charger though? It's much larger than like the gallium nitride ones that we see in some other guys. Ooh, 6 pound carry weight. That's getting up there for sure once you add this. Overall, besides the ease of fingerprinting this machine, I do think the build quality is quite high. It appears to be manufactured out of stamped aluminum, and the chassis rigidity is pretty good. It's kind of soft over here, actually. I'll take it off the map for you. Not that this area of the keyboard really matters, but it's something to note. Now, before I turn it on, it does seem like it can be passable enough for professional environments. It isn't too wild with the gamer designs, but let's see what happens once the RGB gets enabled. Oh, that's a lot. I guess you can turn that off, but you're gonna wanna make sure that you turn it off before you go to your lawyer or whatever. Sure. The RGB here looks pretty funky, and that is largely because it's only 3 zones. So we have color, 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 instead of each individual key being its own RGB light, which doesn't allow you as much customization, but at the same time, it's one of the things that makes the Helios Neo just a little bit cheaper than the other one. And do you actually want to pay for individual lighting of your keys? Maybe. Don't buy this then. Why is my mouse so big? This is hilarious. It's almost as good as this segue to our sponsor. Private internet access. Their VPN network spans across 6 continents and 91 countries, letting you access your local catalog of content from all over the globe. Plus, with a single subscription, you get unlimited connections, making it easy to run PIA on practically any device. They just concluded their second security audit, putting further emphasis on your privacy and security. If you're still not convinced, they are 100% open source, and you're free to go digging through the code yourself if you want some peace of mind. So go check out PIA at lmg.gg/PIA ShortCircuit, or by using the link in the description for a special deal with a risk-free 30-day money-back guarantee. All right, let's have a look at our specs here. This thing is the Walmart Special config. You can only buy it from Walmart, and it comes with an Intel Core Ultra 7 155H. That is 16 cores, 22 threads. With that processor, you get 6 performance cores, 8 efficiency cores, and 2 low power efficiency cores, and it goes up to 4.8 gigahertz. As for memory, we have 16 gigabytes running at 6400 megatransfers per second, so maybe able to be swapped, although it says row of chips here, so probably not. We also have have a Samsung NVMe SSD that is at 1 terabyte, killer Wi-Fi 6E for networking, and of course the star of the show is our RTX 4070 from NVIDIA. This only has 8 gigabytes of VRAM, which is questionably enough these days, but it should be able to get you gaming pretty good. What isn't so good though is the NPU. All of Acer's marketing material and every single laptop maker's marketing material is AI. Wow, AI, so much of it. Doesn't meet the min specs for Microsoft's Copilot Plus, so I don't know, get screwed. It's kind of useless. Now there are 2 panel options and we have unfortunately the worst of the 2, but it is still really quite good. It's 1600p, 120 Hz. We have G-Sync and Advanced Optimus in here, and in our testing, it performed really quite well. Acer claims that it's a 350 nit panel, but we tested it at 374, so that's borderline able to use it outside kind of brightness. And the color accuracy, even though they said almost nothing about it, is quite good. We measured an average Delta E 2000 of 1.78, which gives us about enough color accuracy to be doing professional color work on this, although that said, your reds will be a little bit saturated. One thing that is completely missing though is HDR support, which makes sense, it just simply does not get bright enough. If this isn't quite enough for you, there is a higher resolution, higher refresh rate display, which is presumably decent, but we haven't measured it yet, so this one right here, decent. All right, let's have a look at this keyboard here. The first thing, it feels kind of strange. They have a bunch of keys over on the right here, like your Predator Sense and your media keys, which shifts everything over here, but your trackpad is centered, so I end up just kind of on top of it. Why is there an avatar? Like, it's like knockoff Master Chief. Anyway, let's look at the keyboard. This keyboard I'm going to give an astounding fine. There's nothing wrong with it per se. I was able to get up to full speed pretty quickly. I'm not making many errors, but the whole experience is just not super enjoyable. The key travel is very short. We have a lot of kind of mushy feel. Like if you look here, it doesn't take very much to flex the keyboard, even though like if I push hard on it, it doesn't go any further. But if I push just a little bit, it moves a little bit there. And that's enough to kind of make it feel mushy. The key consistency, not great. Like if we look at this here, the J key is kind of floppy. It's easy to move around. I can get that kind of below the chassis before it actuates, whereas K is really quite a good key. K is doing just fine. And that inconsistency is going to make your typing experience just kind of worse. That said, it's acceptable. You'll get used to it. You'll just not love it. I'm giving it a B, a flat B, not a plus, not a minus, just a B. Let's do a quick palm rejection test since this is directly under where my hand is. The palm rejection seems okay enough. You aren't going to get inputs if you just have your hand on top of it, but it is really easy to click the mouse and that always clicks the mouse. So try and avoid that. I don't love it. That said though, the trackpad itself is quite good. It isn't particularly large, it's a little bit on the small side, but at the same time, it's using up most of the space that's available. I guess all of this could have moved up. It's good enough. It is the sort of trackpad where when I first started using it, it was not the best. I was having some kind of sticking issues. Like if you look here, I can kind of get the, right? There's a big bounce. You can get sort of a bounce over the trackpad, but once you get your hand grease on it and all of that nice finger lube on there, it works just great. No more skipping around. Yay. Gross. All right, let's see how this does in Rocket League. We are currently screen recording, so that will be a little bit of a performance hit, but at the same time, it should be fine enough. And yeah, we're getting 160 FPS easy. We're looking at, 100 degrees on the CPU is pretty hot. That isn't unheard of for gaming laptops like this, like the Alienware that we just had was similar, but it's not great that it's just immediately at 100 degrees. It's also just clearly reading wrong. I don't think it's at 9 gigahertz. We are in our performance mode right now, and we are at about 80 degrees on the GPU, which is where it will start to get slower, but it hasn't yet. And also the fans are loud-ish, but they aren't crazy like that Alienware that we had last time that I guess we're just gonna dunk on for a bit. Overall though, this is quite a good laptop to play games on from my short bit of testing right here. 120 Hz display, G-Sync, nice and colorful. I'm having a good time. Overall, the gaming performance of this thing is quite good. Labs tested it, and when you have it in turbo mode where that 4070 is going up to 125 watts, it was able to beat the Asus G14 in, yeah, basically everything. All of the gaming tests, this thing right here won compared to the G14, but with its Ryzen processor, the Asus G14 was able to edge out in some of our more professional benchmarks. All right, let's give Crabrave a listen. Given our last Acer laptop that we had in here, my expectations are not high. Wow, it's already on 100. Treble. That is comically lacking in volume and bass and mids and in staging. I do want to hear it without this, because it does have some downfiring speakers. And it's still Yeah, those are abysmal. We're going to compare to a MacBook Pro 14 just for a second so you can really hear just how butt sounding these are. Wow. Yeah, Acer, fix it. Oh my God. Webcam, it looks fine. It's 1080p and I'm kind of blown out. And I'm really fuzzy. It's completely dying when we look towards the lights here. If we go around this way, I'm still completely blown out. And now I'm both too dark and blown out. Excellent. The most disappointing thing here, though, is that I don't see any Windows Hello facial recognition or fingerprint sensors. So you need to just log in like a caveman, typing out your password. 9 T5 screws later. And we are inside. We can see here that, guys, look at this, look at this. Fake vents, they're liars. They only have heatsink right here. That explains why we're hitting 100 degrees, even though I thought that we had a freaking heatsink all the way across the back. Anyway, there are 3 heat pipes here, and they do good enough of a job, and we have a fair bit of heatsink on the sides and the back, even if it isn't as much as I thought we had. For repairability, you can swap out the Wi-Fi card, you can swap out your SSD, although there are no extra SSD slots, and the RAM is soldered down, so there is no getting at that. We also have a 76 watt hour battery, which Acer has been able to really push to its limits. In their eco mode, we are able to get 9 hours and 40 minutes away from the wall, which is just exceptional for a laptop like this. You typically see these maybe getting 8, sometimes 6, 7. So seeing them to be able to get over 9.5 hours in this thing is incredibly impressive. Now, can it pass our double-sided drive test? Check it in here, goes down. Yep, you're all good if you want to upgrade to a double-sided drive. If we look at our Walmart config for this right here, it comes in at $1,600 for that 4070 and an Ultra 7, which is pretty darn good. Similar-ish laptops will be coming with a 4060 for that kind of a price, but at the same time, if you're willing to spend $200-300 more, you will be able to get much better speakers and like an OLED display if that's something that you want. If you're just looking for battery life and performance though, this thing's pretty darn good. Do you know what also is pretty darn good? You! Thank you, viewer, for watching this. Hit like, get subscribed, and just have a great old day. See you later.